welcome to another week of In the Spotlight with Tabitha Collins. I'm Tabitha Collins, and thank you so much for returning to another week's broadcast. Tonight we have a very special guest, and this is a more of a serious topic, so I really want us to be able to pay attention. I have Mr. Troy Ketchmore with us tonight, and I'm going to set up his story a little bit for you, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from. Mr. Ketchmore was wrongfully convicted for murdering his friend in 1995, and this was in Newport News, Virginia. Mr. Ketchmore is a son, a father, a grandfather, a brother, just like most of our African American men are, just like my husband, my son. And he was wrongfully convicted and for killing his best friend. And thankfully, for the use of DNA and some skillful attorneys, he is now a free man after regaining his freedom for 26 years he served in prison. Mr. Ketchmore, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on in the spotlight, and thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me, Tabitha.
I've really been looking forward to this. Now I gave the audience a little bit of a background, but I want you to be able to tell your own story. So if you could just start from the beginning on what happened. How did you get here in 95?
Well, in 1995, I went to a residence to give my son a gift. I was trying to be daddy. And an individual who had a daughter by the same young lady was in the driveway working on his car. Now, this wasn't his residence. This was the young lady who I had a son with, her mother's house. So I was going to drop off a gift. I had two friends of mine in the car with me, one in the front passenger seat, one in the back seat. I told them to remain in the car. I'm just going to drop off the gift and come right back. So I didn't go to the residence intending to commit a crime or nothing. I walked past the individual who was working on his car. He stopped what he was doing and followed me to the door. I gave the gift to the young lady as she met me at the door, thanked me. I'm leaving, he's following me again. So we started having words. This is a guy that I had words with before, you know. So we started having words. He reached behind his back for his weapon. I had a weapon on me. I pulled my weapon out and swung at him to keep him from pulling his gun out. He hit my arm. My weapon discharged. I fell to the ground. She shot at me while I was on the ground, chased me. I jumped up and ran towards my car. He chased me, shooting at me as I ran towards my car. And as I got around the back window, individuals in my car started to shoot through the back window to keep him from killing me. And my friend in the back seat accidentally got hit. I jumped in the car and rushed him to the hospital. And later at trial, they only introduced the evidence that showed that I was shooting because he got killed with that caliber weapon. However, it was two of those. The guy actually in the inside had the same caliber weapon as well, but they withheld that evidence and only showed evidence that made me look guilty. And later in prison, I got that physical evidence that was never presented or mentioned at trial to show that this other weapon was the actual weapon that killed my friend. And I have a 4-page report from Dr. Michael Batten, who did the autopsy on George Floyd and Michael Brown, saying that it's impossible that I didn't kill him. He had gunpowder in his wound. I was outside the car. They had the physical evidence the whole time to prove that I was innocent. However, they misrepresented it as if it didn't exist and allowed me to go to prison. And I had an attorney sitting there that was aware of this information and never used it, you know? So I only found out about this information after I went to prison. I didn't have parole. Now, what happened was a guy named Fishback won his case because I was also wrongfully sentenced. So those of us convicted between 95 and 2000 was wrongfully sentenced. But however, the courts gave him relief and didn't make it retroactive for us. So the governor at the time felt that it was not right, and they enacted a provision to put us under parole. And the head prosecutor office, Howard Gwynn, wrote an extensive letter asking the parole board to release me because he had a copy of my actual innocence written on his desk. And the victim's family called the parole board and asked them to release me and told them that they know I didn't kill a loved one. and I made parole. Yes, and we're still fighting them on to clear my name exoneration wise now.
Okay, so basically, so let me make sure I understand this. So you got out because you did the 26 years, but you're still fighting to exonerate yourself
For them
and
to fully
move forward.
exonerate me.
Okay.
Yes, they gave
So
me parole as a provision.
okay, and while you're trying to exonerate yourself.
Yes.
But you did your time, so this isn't like you would have to go back into
Oh
jail or
no,
something like that.
no.
Okay, so you're
I
out.
did 26 years and 8 months. Yeah.
So where does the conviction integrity unit come in at that launched this claims and innocent program?
Well, oh no, my lightning went out for some reason. Um, um, by one attorney general. However, they just changed the attorney general, so he's not the attorney general right now. And the new attorney general coming in, they're doing away. The new governor Youngkins is doing away with the whole integrity unit.
Okay.
So they have no plans of trying to rectify the wrongs or do the right thing as the integrity unit was established on. You know, this new, so they're just trying to make it harder and more difficult, to do the right thing. When we live in a society, we're hollering about systemic racism. We're hollering about the criminal justice system being unjust in 2022. And we have a case like mine with physical exculpatory evidence, not hypothetical, not some recantation by a witness or nothing. Physical evidence is on the table to show you that mathematically I'm innocent. And I
Right.
did 26 years, 8 months for a conviction of first-degree murder now for my friend that I took to the hospital. And I had to live with this, with people thinking I killed my friend, all of these things for 26 years when the physical evidence is there, trained professionals, law professionals, that I'm not a law professional and I figured this out. So how is it that you can't look at this and do the right thing? The truth should always be able to withstand an investigation. If I'm wrong, show me I'm wrong.
Right. So basically, what you're trying to do now with your nonprofit, well, not just your nonprofit, but just going on shows and speaking out, what you're really basically trying to do is to get someone involved. Am I correct to take the case since this unit has been dissolved that was trying to help you prove and claim your innocence? Is that what we're doing now?
I would like any and all help with anybody who stand for what's right, and want to fight for what's right and help undo something. Virginia's like a bully with this. They erect provisions that they procedurally bar you or anything they can use to hide the truth. And the truth could be staring them in the face. So with like with our nonprofit I'm doing is the work that, my life's mission is on now, because I'm on a mission to catch more kids than the street, catch more kids than the drug dealers, catch more kids than the gang members. My life mission is that I'm not going to allow nobody that say they stand for criminal justice reform or the people or what have you corrupt what my life path is. Whether they help me, whether they overturn it, I'm blessed to be home. I'm going to fight and continue to try to save and pass this message to as many young men that look like me or don't look like me that's headed down the wrong road. So
So
I'm
do
going to do
you
the work and lead by example.
So do you feel like because you were a black man and you were in Virginia that that played a part in your incarceration?
It plays some part because I had 9 whites, 3 blacks on my jury. I'm supposed to be judged by a group of my peers. None of those look like my peers. Most of them was older. And here I am sitting here oblivious to the legal system. And all of these trained professionals with degrees have physical evidence, and a game was played. It's no other way to say it. A game was played. I was convicted for first-degree murder. Now, the prosecutor used a theory called transfer intent, meaning that if I tried to shoot the guy I had an altercation with and accidentally shot my friend, then that intent follows the bullet. However, they had a duty by law to prove that it was my bullet that hit my friend before they could transfer any intent, because this wasn't a acting in concert situation where, say, we went to a bank to rob somebody and he killed them, then I can have the same murder because we went there with the same intent to commit a crime. Everybody testified that I came there to give my son a gift, trying to be daddy. An altercation pursuit, it just happened. But now, with that being the case under the doctrine of transfer intent, they had a duty to prove that my bullet hit him before you can transfer anything. And my lawyer and the prosecutor had to be in cahoots because why would he use a theory like that, knowing my lawyer have the one piece of evidence that can derail his whole theory if he mentioned it, unless he's confident that my lawyer would not mention it. And that's what happened.
What about the other guys that were shooting that night?
Well, my other friend, one was killed, and the other one, he testified for them. Conveniently, he caught some type of case. That case disappeared, and somehow you come in there testifying on me.
Got
But
you.
but the physical evidence shows that you're the only other shooter for the bullet that killed the victim.
I was wondering what happened with that, because I was thinking what happened to, the witnesses that, that were there at the house and all of that. So somebody, allegedly took a plea to
Yes,
save themselves, is what you're saying.
yes. He got on the stand and testified to help them convict me, I guess to save his own butt, because, you know, they have the physical evidence. They know what happened, you know,
And
everybody
what
knows what happened.
And what's so crazy is that this has just become so common over the last, I would say, 20, 30 years. You've seen so many people. I don't know if you remember it. I think it might have been President Obama that exonerated, or pardoned so many people right before he left office, and all of the DNA that's come back to prove that these men have done 20, 30 years, or, so many years of their life gone because they
Yes,
were wrongfully convicted. And this has just
yes,
become so common in today's society.
yes. And we're dealing with human lives. Like,
Right,
I could have been anything, you know.
right,
A person's life starts out one way and ends up in another place. A person go from poor to riches. Like, I could have had the opportunity to do anything. And it's just, my thing is that the truth should always be able to withstand an investigation. Follow the evidence. When you're elected official and your job is to be in the center and get to the truth, but you lean one way when the evidence tells you no, that's not accurate, and you still pursue that on a malicious prosecution, then who's the criminal?
right,
Because you don't have to go bust a gun to be a criminal. When you have a job like that and you have the knowledge, you have the power, and you pursue me in a manner in which you did, knowing you had the physical evidence to tell you that's not right.
right, right,
So when we have individuals like these that's in control of so many lives that come through their hands, so many circumstances that come in their lap, like how many others is it like that? And then you can see the truth and you fight me for 20 some years, time bar, knowing you wrong. It's a
right.
game. It's a game with people's lives. So
Well,
that says that what do does do my life matter?
right, right.
I'm allowed as a human being to make a mistake and grow and develop from that. That's the beauty in that. That's what we should want to see. We
That's
don't
right,
want to see me down and stay down and come home worse than I went in. I
right.
found a way to go to get my GED, to go to college for business management, to create programs inside, to teach other brothers, even dealing with what I'm dealing with.
Right.
So you can't tell me the potential won't there for me to become great.
That's right. That's right. And it's heartbreaking to think that there's so many of our black men and yourself that have amazing potential to be anything that they want to be in this life. And sometimes the systemic racism in the justice system doesn't seem, or doesn't look like, from this lens, to always, be on our side. But we're about to break for a commercial. And when we come back with Mr. Ketchmore, because we are here at WYTV7.org, a nonprofit here to encourage, empower, and continue to educate our viewers one interview at a time. So please, if you like our broadcast, please donate. We are also a nonprofit. So please donate, share, like our show. If you'd like to be a part of our broadcast, please contact me, which we will be sharing all of our information at the end of the show. But we are going to break for a commercial at this time, and we will be back with Mr. Ketchmore so he can tell us what's on the good side, what's on the new side of things, and the new side of his life. And he can share with us information on his nonprofit and how you can all be a part of that. So come on back and join us in just a few minutes.
Calling all HBCU alumni, supporters, and golfers. It's that time of year again. Yes, the HBCU Swing Into Their Dreams charity golf tournament on Tuesday, April 5th. If you missed the last one, you have time once again to be epic. Don't miss the golf tournament of the year. The Swing Into Their Dreams HBCU charity golf tournament at the Atlanta National Golf Club in Milton, Georgia, Tuesday, April the 5th. Registration begins now. Sign up your golf teams at swingintotheirdreams.com. That's swingintotheirdreams.com or call 770-686-7148. That's 770-686-7148. Don't miss it.
And welcome back to In the Spotlight. And again, this week we are shining the light on Mr. Troy Ketchmore. Mr. Ketchmore was wrongly convicted for murdering his best friend and regained his freedom after serving 26 years in a U.S. prison. U.S. prison for 26 years, convicted at
Yes.
the age of 21 in Virginia. Mr. Ketchmore, thank you again for coming back on the second half with us of our show. And
Thank
now
you.
that we have that backstory on what happened, uh, and as we continue to encourage, empower, and educate our viewers, where are you now? Tell us a little bit about your Catchmore Kids. I
Well,
understand that you have a nonprofit.
yes. Well, actually, it was started by my sister in 2005, as dedicated to me and my growth and development after I went to prison, and she was proud of me. So we thought about starting something to help people, young men that come up in areas that I came up. We didn't want them to follow the same footsteps I fell into, or put themselves in a circumstance like mine. So we started catch more kids to catch more kids than the streets, catch more kids than the gangs, than the drugs, than the police, than the prison system. And we started doing, programs. I would call and speak over the phone to the kids. She would do workshops using hip hop, showing the positive lyrics versus the negative lyrics, and show them in a manner to decipher the lyrics so that we can understand fact from fiction, entertainment from reality. So we started, reaching them where they at, because you have to reach a person where they at,
Yeah,
and take them where you want them to go. So, and my thing is, I have to leave. I always say you have to leave from where you at. So I was in prison. I didn't want that to be an excuse for me not to become a man. I wanted to show my growth and development and be sincere with it. So this nonprofit is where I poured my heart at. This is what my work is. So now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I go back and forth to Virginia to do speeches, to do workshops. I create a program called the Think Tank Inside, where I deal with kids and the impediments to their growth and development, such as fear, peer pressure, attitude. We deal with all type of things. We do acting skits. Like we really get into it and give them a visual, because we use a slogan by Paula White: you can't change what you don't confront. You can't confront what you don't identify. So we, like the young Black men, we learn better with a visual. So I have to connect the visual with them and show them. And we try to make it cool, that this is the new thing, growing and developing, loving each other, doing things the right way. we have to make that the new cool thing because we made the streets cool when we did
Right.
it. So
Right.
I still pull up on them. I still put the clothes on. You know, I still look good, look like them, but I show them that I'm conducting myself like this. You know, my mind is made like this. This is what I'm doing, and trying to make it cool for you to try to emulate me now. You know,
Right.
be like this, do these things we're doing. So with Catch More Kids, you know, we just after the babies because that's where, you know, that's where they got us at. So you want to change the future, you have to recreate it.
That's so true. And you know what? You don't look like what you've been through. You know, you definitely don't look like what you've been through, and that is nothing but a blessing.
Thank you.
And I think that it's important, like you said, to try to reach today's youth because these lyrics are serious. They
Yes,
are glorifying everything
yes,
we don't want our young black men to emulate. So
yes,
we definitely want to catch them, you know, where they're at. I have a 16-year-old son myself, and you know, he listens to that music all the time, and I'm like, you
yes,
got to feed your soul something else because
yes,
this is serious out here in these streets. And I think as we've learned from Trayvon Martin and George Floyd and all of the other ones that we've lost, it could happen to any one of our sons, you know,
yes,
in an instant. And I think that,
yes.
like you said, we have to continue to educate, educate, educate. How can people get plugged in? First of all, let me backtrack a second. Have you felt the support here in Charlotte in the community for the nonprofit and what you're doing? Or
Yes.
you feel like you're getting the support that you need?
Yes, yes. We've been here for 16 years. Now, me
Oh,
personally,
okay.
I've been here for 4 months.
Oh,
But
okay.
I spoke at a rally for mothers that lost their sons and daughters to violence. Marched with them. I sat down at a luncheon with them, and you know, sitting on the other side and hearing testimonies from mothers that have lost their children was like it was so overwhelming to me. It really inspired me to really do more and more here and in Virginia. So
Yeah.
I really felt the support here. People are really, I walk around with my Catch More Kids sweatshirt and they ask about it. They were very supportive.
Good, good. And how can
Yes,
people get plugged in here? Like tell me about, so is it, you know, youth just signing up? What does it all entail and how can we put that information out there? How can our youth be a part? And are you looking to, second half of that question is, you know, have you been able to connect with someone to incorporate this, like maybe with schools or partnerships? Are you looking for those things or do you have those things?
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we have right now. I go to Virginia March 7th to speak at a high school that just had a shooting, Heritage High School, and I'll be going there to speak. We're working on implementing the think tank, the program that I taught. So we're waiting on to see if we get the funding from Newport News. We'll be reaching out here for the same thing so I can implement the think tank here. So we're reaching out to various locales to try to get them on board. And I got tons of guys that have done 20 plus years, boots on the ground, ready to get to work, you know, where we can get in there amongst these youngsters and really make an impression. And we want to be consistent with this because that's what it's going to take, repetition, consistency, you know. So, oh, my light went out.
We'll we'll wait.
Okay, thank you. So I'm back. So sorry for that. But we're gonna get in there consistently and do what we do for them. So you can go to catchmorekids.org. You can go to I am Troy Catchmore, my YouTube page to see more of my work, what I've been doing. I've been to Virginia State University, did a lecture with, spoke to their class. I've been busy. You can go to I am Troy Catchmore, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, and leave a message, and you'll get a response. You would
and
definitely get a response.
and you share this broadcast and we will make sure, I will make sure on all of my social media platforms it is shared. I will make sure that, you know, anyone that I can connect with, it is shared so we can definitely get this word out. So we
Yes,
can, yeah, because this is
yes,
something that today's youth need to know. They need to know,
yes,
you know, that they, you know, they're talented and loved and they can just be the best and live up to their full potential. But if you get caught, the thing is that them realizing that one wrong move, like you said, you just went to deliver a gift to your son, and and a domestic situation started, wrong place, wrong time, and then
My
here we
life
are.
changed.
Life changes can, and that's what they don't realize. They live moment by moment, and they don't realize, and as a society, that it can change in an instant, and that's what's so impactful, that these kids really need to understand.
Yes. And I want to be a part of that. It's like, even coming home, guys will do time or whatever, but we still owe, because look at the state of the society. So, we can't be elected officials. We can't be prosecutors or what have you and say we love and care about the society. Look at the state of the society. Now, what are we going to do? So I can't work. I can't sit around and, yeah, I did 26 years and that's it. No, it's work to be done, because somebody else's child could have my cell. It's
Yeah.
still open.
Yeah.
So I'm on a mission. They can reach out. We'll reach out to you for a copy of this footage, and we will share it. And we got to build partnerships and continue to work and try to create solutions. That's what I'm about, solutions. So anybody can help me in my fight, whether it's legal or whether it's on the state, the Catch More Kids side. Let's do it.
And our theme this year at the station is "I'm trying." And you've talked a lot here tonight about what you're trying to do, but in context of our theme for 2022, for closing remarks, what are you hardest trying to do, which isn't the right terminology to use really, but what are you trying to do in 2022?
I'm trying to continue to grow and develop, and I'm trying to be a better example daily, so when our young Black men look at me or hear about my story, they can see the end. We'll see the beginning, we'll see the middle. I want you to see the end. And that's what it's all about, growth and development. Because if you're not growing and developing, then you're consciously or unconsciously embracing death. So I want to be an example of how we can go through something and come out of it right and be an asset. Because if everybody just try to be an asset, the world would be a lot different.
And I'm sure on your website for Catch More Kids, you are open to volunteers, donations, and anything
Yes.
else. Okay.
Yes. I mean, because you have to remember, I just did 26 years, 8 months. Like, this is my work, so at the same time, food, clothing, and shelter has to be maintained as well, because turning to the streets, that's not an option for me.
And
So
I think it's also so important that people realize, after you've done 26 years, it's not like you can come out and go get a 9-to-5 job, because you forever have that felony, correct?
yes. So I have to get permission to leave Charlotte, go to Newport News, and I'm not going to commit a crime. I'm going to do the work. These are the hoops that the hoops that I got to jump through.
So that means, you're still on under some type of probation. Is that what it is?
Yeah, parole.
Oh, parole. Okay.
Parole. Yes. So we're trying to galvanize to see if I can get on unsupervised, where I can flow and be able to do what I need to do, because the same people that got me on parole, I'm going there working with them, just did a lecture in front of them for funding, So, I mean, they say they love what I do.
Right.
But anybody can talk. That's what a mouth is designed to do, only thing that really matters is what you do. So right. I'm doing what I do.
Well, Mr. Catchmore, we appreciate you being on tonight. My hat's off to you, and
thank you for having me.
To bless you, your movement, your ministry. I'll definitely be sharing your story, and will continue to share in all of my circles that I can. And if anyone else out there would like to be a part of In the Spotlight, so I can shine a light on your story, your situation, your business, your nonprofit, what you're doing in the community and how we can be of help here, please email me at Tabitha, which is TABATHA spotlight@gmail.com. That's Tabitha spotlight@gmail.com. I can also be reached. It's 980-907-3136, 907-3136. And again, we thank you so much for being on. We appreciate you encouraging, empowering, and educating our guest on tonight. And we will definitely be keeping you in our prayers and sharing you on in the spotlight. So this week,
Thank you for having me.
This week we had Mr. Troy Ketchmore. Hopefully one of these days he'll have a book out there, his story. Look, I'm speaking it into existence for you, Mr. Ketchmore. You better write that book because you have a story that needs to be shared with the world.
Yes.
And if you can save one life and save one young man's life from going down the wrong path, it's worth it all. So we thank you, and we God bless you, and Godspeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that will end our show for this week. So thank you again for tuning in to Tabitha in the Spotlight.